My name is Nicholas Bell. I'm here with IONCINEMA, and I'm speaking with Gregg Araki after the premiere of his latest film, White Bird in a Blizzard, which is in the premiere section. So, first of all, it's an honor to get to speak with you. I've been a fan of your work since I was a kid. That's the baby. But I've seen everything since Living End, because the prior two are hard to get a hold of. In fact, a few of them several times. And I took a class on new queer cinema in college, and we watched a few of your films.
It's mind-blowing to me that like people watch my films in like university, because I went to film school. And it's
right. And now
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
to be like a part of the curriculum. You know?
Right, and you know, it's just very interesting to see where your career's gone, because there aren't too many. Since you came out of kind of that wave of new queer cinema, you kind of have one of the most eclectic and lucrative careers. I mean,
oh, really lucrative?
Well, a lot of people seem to, you looking back on some of the other directors at the forefront of that, haven't had as much output, right. I guess. So,
but none of us can touch Rick Linklater, of course, who's the one that Rick's a friend of mine. I just emailed him. I haven't seen his new film yet. I'm dying to see it. I'm just going to see it in LA, but.
It was good.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. But I was just emailing him going, you put the rest of us to shame. Like, I don't know how you do it, because he has the kids, and I mean, he has the whole thing going on in Austin, and he just cranks these movies out. Like, I mean, literally, he just got Oscar nominated for Before Midnight, and he's already got a new album. How did this happen? You know what I mean? It's just like, especially indie films are getting harder and harder to make, and like it's really a struggle to get done. And more power to them.
Right. Well, everybody works at different speeds, I guess, too. But I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask you, coming out of that, have you noticed has it been any easier to get funding as a queer filmmaker, whether or not you're making an LGBT themed film or not?
It's always challenging, It's always just talking about it. The whole indie world is so constantly shifting and constantly changing, and all these new distributors and old distributors going away, and different means of distributing things and digital stuff, and so it's always changing, and it's there's sometimes it goes in cycles. Like it's hard sometimes it's a little easier. So it's always a struggle. It's never easy. It's always, that's why when a film like White Bird is like really just like a miracle kind of what happens, like that we got the cast we got, and then we were able to make it when we made it, and someone like Shailene is like becoming this huge movie star just coincidentally or luckily for us, right as they're finishing the film, and so it's really just you can't really control the outside factors. All you can do is just keep making your movie and hope for the best.
So going back into your new film, the author Laura Kasischke. That's what you say name?
I was always saying Kasischke, and I met her for the first time last night, and it's Kasischke.
Because I was saying like that till I heard you say it at the premiere last night.
And I literally just learned that like an hour before.
I became very excited when I heard about the project, because I'm a fan of the adaptation of
Suspicious River.
Well, I haven't seen that. Light Before Her Eyes, I actually really liked.
I haven't seen that.
With Dean Perelman. I quite enjoyed that as well. She has a different kind of voice.
It's very specific. It was interesting. It was interesting that it struck such a chord with me, because it's very kind of feminist, very kind of from a female perspective. But I think what it was about it was just so lyrical and so poetic, and it really.
Actually, so jumping into that, it shares a very open, sexually adventurous streak, as many of your films do. But I was going to ask you about the differences between it's kind of a tightly honed female protagonist, and really, her sexual awakening. And what are any differences you've noticed in portraying male desire versus female desire on screen?
It wasn't anything I specifically thought about. I was just very invested in Kat's character, you know, and so the journey she was on. And that, I mean, that's the thing. In case Shailene and I were just talking about this morning, that's the interesting thing about the film to me, is it really has such a strong narrative engine, much more than I think any movie I've ever made, almost, in the sense that it's sort of like there's the like you really want to find out what happens. You know what I mean? Like it really kind of like once it starts, it just kind of goes.
Right.
She walks in, your mother's gone, like, and then just sends into this. You know, it's like just goes in this journey, and she's on this journey that's very sort of. This film has a drive, I think, that is very different in some ways. But yeah, and you know, but the interesting thing in the book that is often in the film as well is like it's the simultaneous sort of her sort of sexual awakening and coming of age, and you know, she talks about the ultimate voiceover just as she's becoming more and more flesh, more and more body, more and more sexual.
Right.
Her mom just disappears out of her
right.
body, and it's like that metaphor that was sort of beautiful, and that's kind of I think what the film explores. But you know, as a director, it wasn't that much different to me. You know, directing Shay in this movie and directing Joe Gordon-Levitt in Mystery Skin, which is also a similar sort of sexual, like it's obviously a darker, stranger journey,
right.
But it similarly this character kind of finding themselves.
I actually really love that because you do see Ava Green is literally it's like she's disappearing. She's become very gaunt in the face.
Yeah, no, Ava Green, I just can't. I was so bummed that she couldn't make it because I really am dying for her to see the film because she's such an amazing actress, and
I'm a big fan.
And I have loved her since The Dreamers. I've like always been in love with her, and when we got her for this movie, I just couldn't believe it. And her performance is just.
I love it. I mean, she's got this thing with her eyes that this like hysterical panic that reminds me a lot of like Joan Crawford.
No, that's no. It's really interesting because it's like she's like also Ava in person is kind of unlike almost any actor I've ever worked. She's like Greta Garbo. She's like this whole other presence. Like a lot like Shay is. I love Shay, but she's just like girl next door. You know, I just love her to death. And like that's what Shay is she's so accessible and so real and so human. And Ava's, it's not like she's cold or anything, but she just has this presence of like she's a movie star.
Right.
Like she walks in the room just like, who the hell is that? You know? Right. And so, and Ava was so interesting in this film in the sense that, you know, when we made this film, she was only 32. So, you know, so she's like 10 years older than Shay. And when we did the film, when we were casting the film, you know, because in the film, Eve sort of spans like, you know, her early 30s to, you know, her 40s. Like, there's a gap in the movie, like old Eve and young Eve. So we could either go with an older Eve, an older actress, and, you know, make her younger via makeup and CGI or whatever, and try to, or we cast a younger actress and make her older. And so we ended up going, you know, going with Ava, and she. You know, she and I talked about, I hate movies that have bad old makeup, old age makeup. Like Brokeback Mountain has the worst. I mean, Brokeback Mountain's a great movie, but
it's like Anne Hathaway.
all of the like Heath Ledger in that last scene with his wrinkles, it's bad. It's like a high school play. I was like, wow, they should have fixed that in CGI or something. I don't know why.
Right.
But so Ava and I had to talk about old age makeup, and she said, yeah, I don't mind that. It looked fake. It always looks bad. And so literally we did the subtle things to her face with just like a little bit of shading, a little bit of darkness, and it was just all her performance. Like literally, she just came, showed up to set, and she was just this withered, weary, like
this husk.
It was it was freakish. And then and the day she showed up on set when we were filming the restaurant scene, where she's just this glamorous, gorgeous thing, I didn't even recognize her. I was just, wait, what? Because that's how she is in real life. You know? I mean, she's just this stunning woman, and she's so beautiful, and it's just all in performance, you know. And it's funny, Chris Meloni and I were talking about this at a party, and he's like, did you like CGI my hands at the end? I mean, I don't want to say what it was, because he's like, his knuckles were all white, and no, that was like your acting. You know, I mean, both him and Ava they're just incredible actors, and it was really just such an honor.
Yeah, no, it's excellent performances. Like, that scene where they open the freezer and there's the rotting meats, and like right before, like her voice, she got that growl like Tallulah Bankhead. She's like straight from the studio.
Yeah, but you know, that's what was so interesting to me, because Ava and I talked about you know, we talked a lot about her character, because I didn't want her to just be this shrewish bitch, you know what I mean, like that evil, like jump off her mom. Like, I wanted her to be like this kind of tragic figure. And so that was really important to me. But we talked about her, like I sent Ava a bunch of pictures, Ava and her makeup hair person, a bunch of pictures of like who, like, as a young girl, because, you know, she gets married in sort of like in the 70s, you know what I mean? So, she's in 88, so she's, it's actually the beginning of the 70s. So her role models growing up would be like Jackie O and like Hitchcock, heroin. You know what I mean? Like, that's who she grew up like saying, that's who I want to be. So she grew up in a whole different era of like ingenues and women and you know, just like old time, like classical Hitchcock women. You know what I mean? Like the way they carry themselves and their hair, and they're always so perfect. Like I love the scenes when he was cleaning the house. You know?
Oh,
She looks perfect.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
And it's like, and it's, to me, that's how she grew up. Like, it's sort of like, you know, it's like the feminine mystique. You know what I mean? That whole thing about that's what they're intended to be, is these perfect wives and perfect mother, and then suddenly this like soul crushing like emptiness. Like, who am I? Like,
the scene where she's staring at Shailene in the door on her face,
yeah,
you know, I mean, you can understand her character reaction to that, but it's bleak. I mean, she's a tragic character.
Yeah, and so her performance, and I mean, I love that basement scene too. I just love it. Like, I can't watch it enough times.
No, I agree. Speaking of which, it's a period piece technically. Kind of going back to the pre-Gregg Araki world, but I could tell that you have some reverence for the time period. But I was glad to see it wasn't over like awash in like 80s references. But how was it like to go back to that?
It was really important. I mean, that's one of the things that changed in the book. The book is actually set in Ohio in the early 80s, like I think 81, and I moved the period to 88, and I moved the location to California suburbia. This is where I grew up, so I could sort of connect with it a little more directly. But I made it in the late 80s specifically for the music, because I felt like that music, that kind of beautiful dream pop kind of melancholy music of like, you know, Jesus, Mary Jane and Caucheteux Twins and like New Order and all those bands and The Cure and stuff, like it all really fit thematically with this sort of spiritual kind of melancholy of the movie and the sort of alienation of Kat's character. So, and I specifically made, you know, Kat and Beth and Mickey these sort of new wave kind of outsiders, you know, and that's why the music became such a crucial part of it.
Right. Well, your soundtracks are always excellent.
Yeah, but this one is like the top of the heap. I mean, I've always been so careful about my soundtracks, but the soundtrack of this movie is literally my dream soundtrack.
I did really like it, and a lot of people have been talking about how great the soundtrack is. But I was disappointed. I'm like, oh, in '88, we're not going to have any Ladytron.
It wasn't like Kaboom, which could be more like, you know, the front band of right now. It's the bands that they were listening to.
Right. At what point do you put together this soundtrack?
Well, this film, a lot of the songs are written for this film. Like, I specifically knew that that's what I wanted.
That's what you wanted.
The mood of the movie to be, sort of the soul of the movie. And we got almost every song.
That's great. Well, that's nice about writing your own adaptation.
It was really like, the music was such an important part of the sort of core of the movie.
Right, I agree, exactly. Kind of to wrap up, but your early films, I feel like, where it seems, you know, you see the Andy Warhol posters, a lot of them. Would you cite him as kind of one of your earlier influences?
Yeah, I mean, I went to film school, so I have like a whole host of influences and references.
Yeah. As you developed as a filmmaker, any others that you kind
well,
of
this movie interestingly to me is like it really is almost like a circle movie to me.
Yeah.
And it has, you know, it's of all my films probably the most classic. You know, we really wanted it to be. It's more serious, my serious side. I mean, Kaboom to me was much more of a kind of fun, crazy movie, and it was a very like a specific. It was made in a very specific way to be do generation for millennials.
Right.
But this movie was like approached in sort of a different way. I mean, like American Beauty-ish,
Right.
Nice Story, just more like those sort of dramatic,
soapy. It's like the soapy circus kind of soapy.
Yeah, like the kind of idea that it's like a more classical drama.
Okay. Interesting to think of that way. And I guess I kind of want to end with, any advice for any aspiring screenwriters or directors in today's market.
In today's crazy world, I mean, I'm not
trying to do difficult material.
Yeah, I'm not a great one to give advice because it's just really, I feel like especially in the changing world of film, I feel like you just really have to be you have to be really tough and really tenacious. I mean, that's always been the case in the indie world. I think even more so than ever.
Right.
It's just like you just really have to have a strong vision, I think, and a very strong sort of belief.
Right. Well, because I was always disappointed with kind of how Smiley Face got out there, because I saw that at TIFF in 2007, and I personally think it's one of the best genre films ever made. Like that Anna Faris performance is like, I show that to everybody, and love it. And I was so disappointed, that it just, I think like 2007 and 8 were particularly bad years of the economy and things weren't getting distributed.
We had behind the scenes, there were a lot of problems with the company that made that film, and there's just like a lot of bad decisions made. But it's funny, I see Anna Faris every now and then at a party and stuff, and it's like I was disappointed as well because I love them. I mean, I love all my films; they're all like my babies. But that film in particular, I just love it. I think Anna's performance is incredible, but it's interesting. It's just like, despite the difficulties we had with that film getting it out there, it got out there.
It did. I mean,
and I have so many people like, that's my favorite movie of all time. I mean, like so many. And Anna Faris is the same way. All anybody that ever talks to me is that fucking movie. She's all anybody ever says is like, I love Smiley Face.
Oh, it's because it's so good.
Yeah, no, and to me that's it's sort of like, that's the way Doom Generation was too. I mean, Doom Generation had kind of weird, shitty distribution. I mean, it got distributed, but it was like it didn't get distributed well. But it's just lived on.
Right. It just got a Blu-ray release, right?
I don't know if it's Blu-ray. I think I wish they did do it on Blu-ray because we could. They did. We did I don't think it was Blu-ray. It was the UK did a version.
Okay, so I was reading
something. Me, Rose, and Jonathan all did Me, Rose, Jimmy, and Jonathan all did commentary. I think we didn't know we're the same way just this past year. So and so as a filmmaker, I'm just gratified that he's had this life and that it means so much to some people. So.
And beyond that, like first weekend opening or initial reception,
I mean, to me, that's what the important thing is that people see it.
Right.
Obviously, as a filmmaker, you want to see it in advance. Especially, like, Whitebird, it's like, seeing Theatricals last night, it was just like so
amazing,
excited to see it. And then the audience reaction was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the joy of cinema is.
Right.
I mean, obviously, it's cool if like somebody watches it on a laptop or whatever, but it's not the same.
It's not the same, yeah.
Especially
it's a shared experience.
Yeah, it's a shared experience, and also so much of Whitebird to me is just being enveloped in its world. You know what I mean? Like the soundtrack, the music, and the like gorgeous like cinematography, just it all just sort of like seducing you, like taking you away, and you can't do that on
the dream sequences on the big screen. I mean,
like since Chills on My Spine, you see it, it's just like, I mean, it just has this power that you can even if you have a big TV at home, it doesn't really.
It's not the same. You're not sitting in that dark space where there's no interruption.
Yeah,
or it shouldn't be, but
it's just like it's not. Even if you have a great system on one system, it's like it's not the same. But it is. I've always felt theoretically, it's about that surrender.
Right.
Like when you're in a cinema, you surrender to the movie, and at home you're controlling the movie. You can stop it, rewind it, get up, get a sandwich. The phone rings. It's like you're checking your email. It's like not the same thing. So you have to just sit there in the dark and give up your whatever 90 minutes.